तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स 186 आविर्भावतिरोभाव शक्तिमत्वेन हेतुना आरम्भपरिणामादि चोद्यानां नात्र सम्भवः. So as a part of Tatpada Vichara, which belongs to Mahavakya, Vidyaranya deals with the topic of Ishvara with the help of Shruti statements. And we are analyzing actually Mandukya Upanishad Vakya, mantra number 6, in which all the superior attributes of Ishvara has been discussed. And we have already discussed one attribute called Sarveshwaratvam, second attribute Sarvajñatvam, then Sarvantaryamitvam also has been discussed. And now we are discussing Sarvasya Yonihi, which is a cause, material cause of everything. Ishvara is a material cause of everything. This has been explained now, and that is from verse number 182 to 187. And so Sarvasya Yonihi is equal to Upadana Karanam is equal to Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karanam. Both. Utpatti Karanam, Nimitta Karanam. Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karanam, Upadana Karanam. So this is under the discussion. And according to these verses, Ishvara is defined as a material cause in which all the Nam Rupas, of course, are there in an unmanifest condition. And then their manifestation is the Srushti, and their becoming again unmanifest is a Laya. And so this is a Vyavarika, the creation is a Vyavarika, the Srushti is a Vyavarika. It's called Vyavarika Satyam also. And Adhishthanam is, that is Brahman, is Paramarthika Satyam. So this is a Ishvara's account for Vedanta. But Vidyaranya says now in this verse that there are other systems of philosophy, while they regarding this, creation, they have a certain theory. Of course, that is going to be refuted, but that is what they believe. What do they say regarding creation? So Nayayika and Vaisheshika, they have a Arambhavada for the creation. Sankhya and Yoga, well, these people have a Parinamavada. So Arambhavada is called Asatkaryavada. Arambha. Srushtihi Arabhate. The creation begins. So, well, definitely means it was not there before. What begins must not have been before. And so, they, Nayayika and Vaisheshikas, they have a theory of Arambhavada or Asat Karyavada. Karya, the creation, effect. Asat, before. And Parinamavada of a Sankhya, well, it's called Satkaryavada. The creation was there in a different format. Now undergoes modification, has come into this format. That's all. So, these two others, of course, this elaborate discussion on this Vada of creation is there in Mandukya Upanishad 3rd chapter. Here Vidyaranya just mentions for refuting. Anyway, so let's take an example here in order to understand little bit of this. So how does a clay produces a pot? Creation of pot. So this is a question, that how does a clay produces a pot? Well, before creation or origination of this pot, well, the pot was there, existent in the clay or not. So then this Nayayika, which are Asat Karyavadis, they say, well, if pot is already existing in the clay, then why should pot maker create a pot? Why should pot maker put effort? Because it's already there in clay. And therefore, pot maker, since pot maker puts lot of effort, itself proves that pot was not there in the clay. Pot begins, pot is created. So pot was asat in clay. Pot was non-existent in clay. So that's how Asat Karyavadi answers like this. So Karyam Karane Asat. Karyam, effect, creation, well, is asat, is non-existent, karane, in the cause. Anyway, and then, well, pot maker basically works and out of his effort basically he creates a pot. So pot is definitely, pot begins from the clay, which was not there in the clay. Pot is different from clay, naturally, because pot was not there at all. So pot is different from the clay. So there are two different substances as per the Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas. One is a Karana Dravyam, another is a Karya Dravyam. Since he talks about the beginning of the new substance called pot, well, we say Arambhavada. So pot begins. So Gataha Arabhate, that's how Arambhavada. Or Gata was not there before. Asat Karyavada, Asat Gatavada. Asat Karya. Karya is this effect, pot. It was Asat. Anyway, so this is, both the names are there. For theory of creation as per the Nanyayikas, we gave two names, either Arambhavada or Asat Karyavada. And that was refuted in Mandukya Upanishad. Lot of discussion is there in Mandukya in the 3rd chapter. But we just simply say, here, that a non-existent things can never come out. So when you say non-existent thing can come, that statement itself is a contradiction. Anything which comes must have been existent before. Swami comes. Suppose Swami comes. So Swami was not non-existent before. So anything which comes definitely must have been existent before. Maybe in different format, that's a different issue. But it must have been there. And therefore, so this sentence itself is wrong. So anything comes must have been existent before. And that is, even modern science also is the same. Modern science also says matter cannot be created. Well, matter just, was there in a form of energy. And again matter goes back into the state of energy. Again from energy matter comes. So matter also is that non-existent matter is evolved. That can never happen. Matter must have been there in different form. It can definitely get manifest, etc. So Asat Karyavada is wrong actually. In short we are giving the answer. Then the second one is a Sankhya's, who says Satkaryavada or Parinamavada, either. So they say pot is not produced from the clay, pot does not begin from the clay, pot is not different from the clay, pot is already there in the form of unmanifest name and form. This pot maker basically brings out that form which was in unmanifest condition, while he definitely brings it out. So while doing that, what is our effort of the pot maker? He transforms, with his effort, he transforms that clay into a form, another form called pot. And so a new substance is not created basically. A old substance, is transformed, parinama. So pot was there in the form of a clay. Now with his efforts, he has transformed into a pot. So before creation of the pot, it was there in a karanavastha, and after the transformation, the same clay comes down into a karyavastha. So there are no two substances, unlike Nayayikas. Nayayika says there are two different substances, dravyam, two different, karanam and karyam. Pot which was non-existent in clay has come into existence, and therefore karanam, clay, is different, pot is different, and so karana karya dravyas are different. Sankhya says no, dravyam is one, substance is one. There are two states, there are two different configurations only, there are two different avasthas of a same substance. That's all. So this makes sense, right? The Vedanti likes this. So so sometimes we are also called Satkaryavadis, but there is a big difference. We'll see that. Anyway, so pot is not a new creation, but it is a parinama, evolution, modification, etc. Anyway, so shaping of the clay into a pot. This is called parinama. Shaping of a clay into pot, or the parinama of a clay into pot, etc. Parinama is called vikara also, modification, etc. So there is no beginning of pot actually. What is potentially there gets manifested. Advaitin, Vedantin now says, Parinamavada also has various problems. In fact, we also say like this, but the problem is very, very pronounced actually. So when we talk about Brahman, that is the point of interest for us. So when we talk about Brahman, and then definitely this theory we cannot accept, Parinamavada. Well, for clay pot, for milk and curd, etc., there we can apply these things. Where the Karanam has a capability of transforming, we accept it. But when Brahman is Nirvikara, Brahman cannot modify into anything, and therefore this theory cannot be applicable to a Karanam which is Nirvikara. Because Parinama means Vikara, modification, and then therefore it cannot apply here. And Brahman is Nirvikara has been told, Najayate, Mriyate, Va Kadachit, Nayam, Bhutva, Bhavita, etc. So basically Brahman does not undergo any kind of a transformation because Brahman is not subject to time. Second thing is Brahman does not have any avayavas also, and therefore Brahman cannot transform also. Anything which transforms must have a parts. Yeah, must have a parts. That is what it is. The parts were in a different shape. Now with his effort you put the parts in a different condition, different arrangement. And therefore Brahman which has no avayavas at all, how can you give a shape to that? No transformation is possible. So Brahman is Nirvikaraha, Niravayavaha, Niramshaha, Nishkalam, Brahma. And so Kala means avayava. Anyway, and therefore this Parinamavada also is not applicable to Brahman. So then, so in case of origination of the world from Brahman, Parinamavada can't be applied. Arambhavada, of course, cannot be applied. And therefore, then what is our Vada? So, we present Vada. For that, we also have two names. Because they all have two names, we should also have two names, right? So, Nayayikas have two names. Asatkaryavada or what? Anyway, you remind yourself. And then Sankhya's means again Satkaryavada, or we say Parinamavada. That was Arambhavada anyway. And now we also have so far as creation is concerned, we also have two names, Vivartavada or Ajativada. Same thing. Ajativada. So, well, definitely it has been told here. And because Mandukya has come, so, well, Ajativada or Ajatavada they call, same thing. So, anyway, so how does it happen then? How does it happen? Your Vivartavada, what does it say about creation from Brahman? So, Avirbhava, Tirobhava, Shaktimatvad, Vidyaranya says. Avirbhava, Tirobhava, Shaktimatvad. Brahman has a unique power to bring about a appropriate manifestation of Jagat. So, it does not produce, it does not transform into the world. Like, and we have an example. If example is not there, it is difficult to accept, yeah. But we have example. And that is again a creation only. And that is Swapna Prapancha, dream world. And so, dream world is basically an example which has been formed from this waker with the help of avidya. Because waker's upadhi ultimately, jiva's upadhi is avidya. You cannot bring maya here. And therefore, the waker, along with the ignorance, avidya upadhi, brings about a whole sapna prapancha. Same way, Brahman along with the maya upadhi brings about the entire waking world. Same thing. Anyway, so this is how then this just as a Swapna Prapancha basically has been created without undergoing a change in a conscious being. Well, definitely. Same way, the Brahman also undergoes, the whole this waking world is created from Brahman without undergoing any change in Brahman. So this Vivartavada, or else it is called Ajativada. So, and it is same. See why it is same. See, when you say that this apparent, means basically unreal world is created, it is called Vivartavada. When you say real world is not created, so it is called Ajativada. Same thing, right? A apparent world is created, Vivartavada. Real world is not created, Ajativada. What is the difference? Like they say, they both are right as such. One member of parliament in India, before few years, well, he said half of the members of parliaments are full, and it created an uproar so much. They says, no, this kind of word you should not use. This is an unparliamentary word. So he said, okay, sorry. Then he said, he says that I take back that word, no problem. Half of the members of the parliament are not full. So it is the same thing, right? He said half of the members of the parliament, MPs, are full. So no, you can't tell us full. Okay, no problem. He said half of the members of parliament are not full. It's same thing. So basically, this is how it is. People are creating so much problem. They say Gaudapadacharya ji and Shankaracharya ji, well, they cannot be called Guru Shishya as such. They can't have that relation. Shankaracharya ji talks about Vivartavada. He always gives an example of a Rajju Sarpa. And Gaudapadacharya ji has Ajativada. One says there is no real creation. There is creation, real creation is not been there. Is not created. There is no the real creation is not created. One says apparent creation is created. It is the same thing. And what is a big deal? So Vivartavada and Ajativada are same. One Upanishad talks about Ajativada and other Upanishad talks about Vivartavada, and both are different. These people, the scholars, certain scholars have created such kind of a misunderstanding, and many people believe so, but it is not so. Anyway, so there are no two different theories of creation, etc. Only language is different, words are different, nothing else. So an unreal snake is created, right? Unreal snake is born. Vivarta Sarpavada. A real snake is not born. Not born, ajata. Jatam means born. Ajatam means what? Not born. Means you have to put what? Real, right? So a real snake is not born. So you can say ajati sarpavada. If I say a apparent sarpa is born, well, vivartavada, same thing. So basically, that is how it is. Anyway, so we resolve this also issue along with this vivartavada and ajativada, etc. Anyway, it says here, Arambha Parinamadi Chodhyanam. So, well, there is no scope for these Sankhyas and Nayayika philosophers. Well, so far as creation is concerned, whatever they are presenting as Arambhavada and Parinamavada, etc., there is no scope for that. Anyway, so such questions should not be raised by Sankhyas and Nayayikas regarding creation, etc., regarding Parinama or Arambha, etc. And we can include Adi, right? So from Adi, for that Adi Pada, we have to include basically a Buddhistic people. So Sanghatavada, they have a Sanghatavada. Yeah. According to Sanghatavada, nothing new is created, but only things assembled. It's an assemblage. And therefore, so there is no scope for such theories at all. No, but Swamiji, it has a scope. We also say it's an assembly. So, from Brahman, all these things have come. Basically, all the Ishvara is Jagat Karan. So, from Ishvara, everything has come. And all assemblies basically has come like that. It's not true at all. Why? Because, again, to make an assemblage, well, definitely you should have components. That's not possible. Brahman is free from all components, Nirvayam, and therefore, Brahman cannot transform into different types of assemblies or assemblage, etc. For that, parts are required. That's not there. Anyway, that is Sanghatavada of a Bauddhas. So that also has been negated here. And well, so these three things are there, and mainly it is Arambha and Parinama of the Nayayikas and Sankhyas. Chodhyanam na atra sambhava. That is not possible here. Let's go to 187. Acetananam hetu syat jadyam sheneshwarastatha chidabhasamshastatveshah jivanam karanam bhavet. So this is the last verse. Well, it's a little additional information regarding Ishvara as a Jagat Karanam. And Vidyaranya says, well, Ishvara is a Jagat Karanam. He has got Maya Amsha as well as Chaitanya Amsha. Yes, Swamiji, you just said that he has no Amsha, and now you are saying Maya Amsha, and he is Mithya. He has no Amsha. In the category of Mithya, we are saying like that. See, he has that Maya, he possesses Maya for being a Jagat Karanam, so we say like this. But there is Mithya means it is just for the sake of name. Please understand. There is no reality at all. When we say anything mithya, means for a namesake, vacharambhanam. Understand this. So for namesake. So when I deny it, well, that it has no amsha, means in reality it doesn't have any amsha. When I say it has amsha, means just for the namesake. That's what we have to understand. But then from Maya amsha, this is created and that is created. But I am saying everything is mithya. For a namesake creation. For a namesake, karanam also of the creation. Everything for the namesake. So you should not have any kind of a doubt. The Swamiji, just before 1 minute, he said he doesn't have Amsha. And now he is going to discuss from Maya Amsha and from Chetan Amsha. And therefore Ishvara is Amsha. But where is the creation to begin with? So the question is, all this is discussed for the namesake. Anyway, so Ishvara is a Jagat Karanam. He has got Maya Amsha as well as Chaitanya Amsha. So Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti, you can say. Paraprakriti means Chetanamsha, Aparaprakriti is called Jadamsha. These words Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti is there in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan uses these words. And so Paraprakriti, he said, my Paraprakriti is this Jiva, and Aparaprakriti is this Jad Jagat, inner world. So we find the creation, both the Amshas are there, and therefore, well, since the Karya Prapancha has both the Amshas, we say, well, Ishvara, the Karanam also has the 2 Amsha. For that we say. So there is a Jada Amsha, well, this Bhogya Prapancha, etc. And there is a Bhog through Jiva. So creation consists of Chetan Bhokta and Bhogya Prapancha, Achetan Bhogya Prapancha. So Karya Prapancha has a two amsha, creation, and therefore Karana Ishvara also has a two amsha. That's how we say. So we can correlate accordingly. So he says, Vidyaranya says in this verse, a Chetan amsha of Ishvara basically contributes to the creation of a jiva, Chetanamsha of the world. And Achetanamsha of Ishvara contributes to the creation of Achetanamsha of the world, that is Jad Jagat. So like in child, they always say, there are certain features while belonging to mother, certain features belong to father. Sometimes they fight also for that. They say, oh, child has a buddhi like me. That they want to claim. Mother says that he's intelligent, he or she, whatever. He's intelligent like me. Father says, no. Maybe beauty of a child may be because of you. But she is intelligent like me. Sometimes for cock, they say, no. Intelligence, in the child is due to me. But his nature is a quarrelsome. And that is due to you. Therefore, it goes on and on like this. Anyway, for several years it goes on like that. Anyway, but Vidyaranya wants to correlate Karana Karya. Karya has a two amsha, Chetan and Jad amsha. So he says Karana Ishvara also has a two amsha. Now which amsha belongs to what? Well, he says, he very interesting. He says this Chidabhasa amsha of the Ishvara contributes to Chidabhasa amsha of all the Jivas. Jivas are Chidabhasa. Ishvara also is a Chidabhasa. Right? So Maya Upahita Chaitanyam or Maya Vishishta Chaitanyam. The consciousness, Brahman reflected in the Maya. That's the Samashti Chidabhasa. That is Ishvara. And so he says, Chidabhasa amsha of the Ishvara is a Chidabhasa. So Chidabhasa amsha of the Ishvara contributes to the Chidabhasa of all the Jivas. And then Jivas have a body, that is inert. Well, then Achetan amsha of a Ishvara, that is Maya, contributes to the bodies or Achetan amsha of the Jiva. Jiva has a two amshas. This body, etc., Achetanamsha. Chidabhasa, Chetanamsha. Count that way. So basically, definitely, these two things in the Karya Prapancha is there. And as such, not only Jivas, here everything, other things are also there, which is just Jadamsha. So he says the whole world, which has a two amsha, the Karya Prapancha, the creation has two amsha, Chetanamsha, Achetanamsha. So, Chetanamsha, definitely comes from the Chidabhasa amsha of the Ishvara. That is Samashti Chidabhasa is a Ishvara. So, that contributes to the Chidabhasa amsha of the Jiva. And the bodies which Jiva have, that is Jadam, that is due to Maya. And so, this is how he describes. So, that is how Ishvara becomes the cause for the entire world. So he says, Ishvaraha Jadya Amshena Achetananam Hetuhu Syat. Through his inert part. Through the inert part means this Maya Shakti, we call it as a Apara Prakriti, etc. Jadya Amsha. So Jadasya Bhavaha Jadyam. So through his inert part, Ishvara becomes a cause of all inert objects, including the bodies of the Jiva, mountains and oceans and everything also. So Amshena here is a Dwarartha. Dwarartha means through that. So through the Maya, Ishvara becomes a cause for the inert world. Because Maya means Jadam. Whereas Chidabhasa Amshataha, same thing. So it's a Trutiyarthe Tasi. In the Trutiyarthe only we have to take. Through Chidabhasa Amsha, Eshaha means this Ishvara, Chetananam Karanam Bhavet, it becomes a cause for all the Jivas. Because Jiva is Chidabhasa. So Maya produces individual bodies, etc., both the bodies. And Samashti Chidabhasa, is due to that there is a Chidabhasa also here in Vyashti. So this is how Ishvara becomes a cause for everything. Ishvara becomes a cause for Chetana Prapancha. So with this actually the Jagat Karanam topic, Sarvasya Yoni of Mandukya, the mantra number 6, that word, right, has been explained between 182 to 187. Now, as such, that topic is over, but now Purapakshi raises one question here. Now, so and by way of answering that Purapakshi, Vidyaranya enters into a next topic. Now, the coming to shlokas 188 and 189 is a Purapakshi. And then from 190 onwards, Vidyaranya answers that thing. Let's see 188. Tamah pradhana kshetrāṇāṃ chit pradhānaśchidatmanāṃ parah kāranatāmeti bhavana jnana karmabhihi. So, Purapakshi quotes a verse here actually of Sureshwaracharyaji from Brihadaranyaka Vartikam. So he seems to be a very learned person. He must have seen everything. And so, so Sureshwaracharyaji Brihadaranyaka Vartikam. You know, Brihadaranyaka Vartikam is an analysis of a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashyam of Shankaracharyaji. Commentary on the Bhashyam. Bhashyam is a commentary on the mantras, and Vartikam is a commentary on Bhashyam. And you can imagine, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself is very big. That's how most of the teachers, like me, if you ask me, Swamiji, where is this mantra? Without even lashing my idly, I'd say it is in Brihadaranyaka. So we keep on searching because it's so big. Upanishad is big. On that, Acharya wrote a commentary, Bhashyam. So big, and that too, Gata Bhashyam, which is very popular. That Gata Bhashyam goes on and on and on. It's standard battery. It goes on and on. Anyway, the Upanishad is big, and Bhashyam is big. On Bhashyam commentary, that is Sureshwaracharyaji Vartikam, is too big. 12,000 verses. On the therefore, so this particular verse in the 188 is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Vartikam of the Sureshwaracharyaji, and this verse contradicts Vidyaranya Swamiji. So this verse 188 contradicts 187, where Vidyaranya says, Samashti Chidabhasa is a cause of the Jiva, because Jiva is a Chidabhasa, Veshti Chidabhasa. So Samashti Chidabhasa is a cause for a Veshti Chidabhasa. And Sureshwaracharyaji says something different. That created a conflict in a Purapakshi's mind. And so he brings out that verse of a Vartikam and contradicts Vidyaranya Swamiji. Anyway, so 188, what's this? 188 is in contradiction to 187. So basically, hey Vidyaranya Swamiji, how can you do that? Sureshwaracharyaji, because he's a direct disciple of Acharya, right? And he was the first Shankaracharyaji of Shrungeri. And Vidyaranya Swami also happens to be one of the Shankaracharyaji later, after many generations. Vidyaranya Swami also became a Shankaracharya of the same Shrungeri. So for Vidyaranya, Sureshwaracharyaji was also a guru. And so how can you do Vidyaranya Swamiji? You are contradicting Sureshwaracharyaji. You say Chidabhasa is a Karanam, Samashti Chidabhasa, Ishvara is a Karanam for Veshti Chidabhasa Jiva, but Sureshwaracharyaji says something different. Brahman is a Karanam for Jiva. You say Chidabhasa is a Karanam for Jiva. Sureshwaracharya says Chaitanyam is a cause of the Chidabhasa, Veshti Chidabhasa called Jiva. So, there is a contradiction. This verse occurs in a 1-4-3-4-42. So anyway, so basically it's what it says. See, paraha karanatam eti Paraha, Param Brahma. So Param Brahma Karanatam eti, gacchati, prapnoti. While Param Brahma becomes the cause of creation. What is the definition of this Param Brahma? What is the definition of Param Brahma? He is asking us, oh, Brahman means all pervading. Okay, what will be the cause? Material cause will be what? Yeah, material cause is also all pervading. Then what? Param Brahma, which is all pervading, has a capacity to become a, since it is all pervading, it has a capacity to become a material cause, because material cause pervades the entire effect. Any effect is pervaded by material cause. And therefore, like, well, pot is pervaded by what? Clay. Totally. And therefore, well, the whole creation is pervaded by what? Pervaded by Brahman, which is all pervading. Therefore, Param Brahman is a cause of the entire creation. You are saying that Chidabhasa, Samashti Chidabhasa is a cause. Param Brahma, which is Chit, which is Chaitanya, that is the cause. Not Chidabhasa is the cause. I think you have understood that, right? And therefore, so this is, so Vidyaranya says, well, basically Maya is a cause of the Jada Prapancha and Chidabhasa is a cause of a Chetan Prapancha called Jiva, etc. And Sureshwaracharya says, well, no, Param Brahma is the cause of the entire creation. So Ishvara basically has a three parts, right? First, we have seen that Ishvara means what? Consciousness, Brahman. Plus what? Plus this Maya Upadhi, reflecting medium. Plus what? Chidabhasa. Definitely, when reflecting medium is there, definitely Chidabhasa, reflection will be there. So reflection, Chidabhasa plus reflecting medium, Maya plus definitely, if reflection is there, well, original must be there. So consciousness also should be there. So all the three combined together is called Ishvara. Now, Sureshwaracharya just picks up out of the three, he picks up only that consciousness, Brahman, and shows the cause of the entire creation. What Vidyaranya Swamiji does is, he picks up the Chidabhasa, along with the Maya, of course, as the cause of the entire creation. I hope you have understood. Out of three things are there, right? Consciousness plus reflected consciousness plus reflecting medium. And therefore, that is Ishvara. So, well, Sureshwaracharya says directly that the consciousness is a cause of the entire creation. And Vidyaranya Swamiji leaves aside consciousness and says this reflected consciousness plus that reflecting medium, Maya, together is a cause. In that, Maya is a cause for the Achetan Prapancha. And the reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa, is a cause for the Jiva, Veshti Chidabhasa. And therefore, so this is how, there's a difference between them. Paraha Karanatam, that's the problem. Paraha Karanatam. Param Brahma is a Karana for the entire creation. That's what Sureshwaracharya says in the Vartikam. So, and how Sureshwaracharya says like that the Brahman is the cause of the entire creation. Well, he says this original consciousness, that Brahman, has two parts. That, well, Maya, the Jada part, well, definitely inert part, produces Jada Prapancha. And well, there is no contradiction. That we are, well, Vidyaranya also says the same thing. So there is no contradiction, but he explains. And Chaitanya Prapancha is produced by Chit, by the consciousness. That's how he says. And Vidyaranya says, well, Maya produces Jada Prapancha, Achetana Prapancha, and Chidabhasa produces Jiva. And Sureshwaracharya says, not Chidabhasa. Chit produces Jiva. That's how it is. Chit creates this Jiva. So that is where the contradiction is actually. Contradiction, so far as Achetan Prapancha is concerned, there is no contradiction. There is no contradiction. So Sureshwaracharya is same thing, tells the same thing, that Maya alone produces this Achetana Prapancha. So there is no contradiction. Okay, so now see the shloka. Tamah pradhana paraha. So that is tamah pradhanaha paraha. Paraha means this Param Brahma basically. So tamah pradhana. So tamaha pradhanam yasya parasya brahmanah iti tamah pradhanah. So tamah pradhanah kshetranam karanam bhavati kshetram bodies. So tamah pradhanam is this through this maya part of the Brahman. Well, all these bodies are created because kshetra he has used the word, and we know idam shariram kshetram kaunteya 13th chapter. So this is called kshetra. So eti, it becomes a cause. So Brahman becomes a cause through its through its maya part. Through maya part of the Brahman, it becomes a cause for the Achetan Prapancha. No contradiction with the Vidyaranya Swami, definitely not. And then it says, Chidatmanam Chit Pradana. That Tamah Pradana means Maya. Chit Pradana. Well, so Chidatmanam Karanatam Eti. So through its consciousness part, original consciousness part, it produces Chetan Prapancha. Well, so Sureshwaracharya set aside the Chidabhasa totally. He does not utter a single word of, called Chidabhasa. He says the original consciousness through its Jadamsha, Maya Amsha, produces Achetana Prapancha, inert world, and this original consciousness produces this Chetana Prapancha directly, which is Jiva, Chidabhasa only. But he does not use words Chidabhasa at all. So the clear version between them where there is no contradiction is this, that even this verse 188 means, which is a Brihadaranyaka Vartikam, says one thing which we have already discussed, and there is no contradiction also. So what Vidyaranya says and what Sureshwaracharya has no contradiction so far as this aspect is concerned. Which aspect? See, the nature of creation is not determined by Brahman. Whether it is Chit or Ishvara, Chidabhasa, it is not determined by that. But it is determined by karmas of the jiva. That's what Sureshwaracharya also says. What it says? Bhavana jnana karma bihi paraha means param brahma karanatam iti. Bhavana jnana karma bihi. So definitely, shows the creation comes. Param Brahma is a karanam, alright. But through what? Karma bihi. So through this karmas, through bhavanas, vasanas, samskaras, and jnanam, upasanas. Definitely of whom? Jiva. Of Jiva. So definitely, so whether you say Ishvara or whether you say Param Brahma for the cause of creation, no problem. But no one has a freedom. Well, they definitely create as per the karma, vasana and upasana etc. of jiva only. So even though, well, definitely Ishvara is Sarvagna Sarvashakti, well, definitely he does not create totally independently. Depending upon the jiva's karma etc. only he creates. Anyway, and therefore, well, otherwise I told you also, otherwise he would create a whole creation very beautiful. He would not put any suffering, but there are suffering in the creation. So those things are also, which are the sources of suffering, are created by Ishvara alone. And therefore, definitely, Ishvara does not have a total freedom. Depending upon jiva's karma only, it has been there. So, bhavana, jnana, karma, bihi. These three things are there. So, and that is that he picks up from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself. Because there, this Vartikam is there, right? So, tam vidya karmani samanvarabhete purva prajnacha. While talking about the rebirth of a jiva, while Upanishad says, tam vidya karmani samanvarabhete purva prajna. So, prajna means a samskara. Samskara of the previous life, purva. Samskaras of a previous life, vidya, upasana and karma. So these three things are samanvarabhete. Well, so along with these three things, the jiva goes. That's what they want to say. Samanvarabhete means he leaves this body, but then takes these three things together. Karma and his upasanas and his samskaras. Upasana means need not be upasana, means Ishwar upasana. Need not be any upasana. Yeah, whatever, he constantly meditates during his life. So there are people who meditate on certain actors. So some role model he constantly thinks of, constantly thinking of something. Then in next life, definitely it is going to influence. And so when Jiva leaves this body, these three things follow. That has been told here. So Ishvara, keeping in these three things into account, creates. That's what Sureshwaracharya ji also says. Instead of Ishvara, he says Param Brahma, Karanatameti, Bhavana Jnana Karma being. So Param Brahma creates the whole creation depending upon Jiva's these three things. So there, in that sense, both are same. Both are same. That's what I want to convey. And also, Brahman's tamah pradhan amsha, that is jada amsha, that is maya amsha, from that the entire achetan prapancha has come. There also there is no contradiction. Vidyaranya says the same thing. But Brahman, is a creator of this even chetan jivas also. So no mention of Chidabhasa at all. Where here Vidyaranya says Ishvara, who is a samashti Chidabhasa, creates Vyashti Chidabhasa called Jiva. So that's the difference. And so now Purapakshi has quoted this verse. And now depending upon that verse, he is asking a question to Vidyaranya Swamiji in next verse. Iti vartikakareena jadachetana hetuta paramatmanah evokta neshwarasyeti chechunu. So, iti vartikakarena ukta. So, in previous shloka, which has been told by Sureshwaracharya ji, Vartikakara means Sureshwaracharya ji. This has been told. Sureshwaracharya, so Vartikakarena ukta. So, and I told you, see, there is a difference between a Vartikam and Karika. Yeah. So, let us, for 1 minute, I would like to tell you. Vartikam is a critical analysis of Acharya's Bhashyam. Karika means analysis. Both are in verse form. Critical analysis in a verse form on commentary of Acharya, Bhashyam of Acharya, is called Vartikam. If it is not critical, just analysis of in a verse form, again analysis in verse form, but without any criticism on Acharya's Bhashyam, is called Karika. That's all. That's the difference between them. And so critical analysis, that is how Vartikam, definition of Vartikam is Uktam Anuktam Duruktam cha Chinta Yatra Pravartate Tam Grantham Vartikam Prahuhu Vartikagnaha Manishinaha. Uktam, Anuktam, Duruktam. What Bhashyakara has said, he reiterates in a Vartikam, possible. Anuktam, what Bhashyakara misses some point, that also he can mention in Vartikam. But Duruktam, what Bhashyakara has said, Vartikakara disagrees with that, and he says something different. He gives his own opinion. That possibility is there in Vartikam. Karika does not have that. Gaudapada's Karika and Mandukya Bhashyam. Mandukya Bhashyam and mantra also, of course. Bhashyam, Gaudapada's Karika on the directly on mantra. I'm sorry, it's a big blunder. So Gaudapada's Karika commentary on Mandukya mantras, 12 mantras are there. Well, that definitely has no criticism of anything. Definitely. Some other Karikas they may be there in a Bhashyam also, not Gaudapada's Karika, Mandukya Karika, but some other Karikas. Well, but then definitely criticism is not involved. Whereas when criticism is involved, when the Vartikakara does not agree with the Bhashyakara and he says something different, well, then it is a criticism. So definitely that is Vartikam. That's a Lakshana of a Vartikam. Anyway, so he had several places. It is there in Brihadaranyaka, in Taittiriya Vartikam also it is there. Taittiriya Upanishad Vartikam also is there by Sureshwaracharya ji. And you will find at several places that Sureshwaracharya ji does not agree with his guru, Shankaracharya ji, and he writes a different opinion in Vartikam. So anyway, so this is a difference between Vartikam and Karika. Both are in analysis in verse form. Maybe Karika you can take directly analysis on the of mantras in a verse form. This is analysis of Bhashyam in a verse form. Vartikam also. But with criticism. Anyway, so Paramatma Hetuta Ukta. So Paramatma alone is a cause of this creation. He has also, by the way, our Sureshwaracharya ji has also written Vartikam on Panchikaranam. Yeah, you know the text Panchikaranam. There is a text called Panchikaranam. On that also he has written a commentary. That is called Vartikam only. He has written a commentary on Dakshinamurti Stotram. It's called Manasollasaha. That is also in verse form. But that's not called Vartikam. It's a commentary. So Manasollasaha. And name of the commentary is called Manasollasaha. Anyway, these are all his work. Of course, Naishkarma Siddhi, etc. is also from Sureshwaracharya ji. It's a Prakarana Grantha. And it's a Siddhi Grantha. Yeah. Siddhi Granthas are comparatively little high. Yeah. In terms of all Siddhi Granthas are like this. So Naishkarma Siddhi and Advaita Siddhi and Brahma Siddhi and etc. etc. All Siddhi Granthas are considered Prauda Granthas. Prauda Granthas means Praudas can learn that. Praudas means those who are Praudas in a Vedanta. They have since many years they are doing a study. Well, for them it is it is easier for them to understand. But we don't generally, we don't venture into such Siddhi Granthas. Even Pujya Swamiji also keeps them away. Pujya Swamiji has even not, taken classes on Naishkarma Siddhi, so far as I know. He has not touched even Naishkarma Siddhi also. Let alone this Brahma Siddhi and Advaita Siddhi and all that. They are beyond our reach basically. We can't understand also. Anyway. So Paramatma Hetuta Ukta, Paramatma alone is a cause of is the creation. What type of creation? Jada Chetana Hetuta. So the creation which is has both the things, Jadamsha and Chetanamsha. For Jadamsha there is no controversy with the Vidyaranya. I have already told you. So he says, Na Ishwarasya. Ishvara is not a Hetu, he says. Who says? Purvapakshi says. Based on Sureshwaracharya ji Vartikam. He says, well, Ishvara is not a cause. Brahman is a cause. That's what Sureshwaracharya ji says. So he is asking now Vidyaranya Swamiji, how do you say Ishvara is a cause? Samashti Chidavasa is a cause for a Jiva, etc. Chetan Prapancha, etc. For a Para Prakriti. How do you say it is a cause? So Ishvara refers to Chidavasa. So he says, Sureshwaracharya ji basically does not give that kind of a, mention of this Chidavasa, etc. So Ishwarasya Jadachetana Hetuta na ukta iti chet. So if such a Purvapakshi is raised, well, Shunu. Who says? Vidyaranya says. Ishwarasya Jadachetana Hetuta na ukta. You say Ishvara is not has a cause, status of a causality. We have to translate like that. Jada Chetana Hetuta. Ishvara is not a cause for Jada Chetana, for the Chetanamsha and Achetanamsha. If you say like that, well, Sureshwaracharya ji has not said like that Ishvara is a cause. If you want to say that, Shrunu. Vidyaranya says, well, listen, I'm ready for that. In fact, I was knowing that you are going to ask me a question. That Brahman is the cause and not Ishvara is the cause. You are going to raise this question and I'm ready for that. So you can understand Acharya, because they can question from any angle. And Acharya should be ready for that. Like some person, who knows this topography of a particular city. Well, wherever you put in the city, they will reach home. There will not be any problem. So, but some people, if you put them in a different, you give them a lift, and if you drop them somewhere else, and the area is totally unknown, then they cannot reach home. So you can understand how the Acharya, because this kind of a question we have never thought of. Ishvara is not a cause and Brahman is a cause, and etc. And still Acharya is very comfortable. He said, yeah, I have said that Ishvara is a cause, and Sureshwaracharya says Brahman is a cause. No problem. Shunu, listen. And and what is the answer? I will give you a little gist of it, and then detailed answer we'll see next class. And that answer has been given, of course, in the next verse. Anyonyadhyasamatrapi jivakutasthayor Ishvara Brahmano siddham krutva brute sureshwarah. So, the answer is, now see, the Ishvara is basically three things. We have mixture of three. Ishvara is Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa implies two things. Chidabhasa implies Chit, Chaitanya, Brahman. Chidabhasa also implies a medium, reflecting medium, Maya. So all three put together is Ishvara. And actually they are not three independent amsha. Let's see that. There are no three independent amsha. These three are available in Vyavaharik Prapancha together as one unit. So then if it is available as a one unit, you can take any part. Other two are already implied, since they are not separate. So let's see first thing. Just see three combinations. When you say reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa, then Chidabhasa and reflecting medium, here Maya of course, cannot be separated. Any reflecting medium and reflection cannot be separated. RC and RM, they cannot be separated. Reflected consciousness and reflecting medium cannot be separated. So can you separate basically my reflection from the mirror? No. I will go for a walk and my reflection will remain in the mirror. That never happens. So reflection and reflecting medium will be together. Can you separate reflected consciousness and this original? No. Never. I told you, right? I go out and my reflection can remain in the room. No. So reflected consciousness and reflecting medium cannot be separated. Reflected consciousness and original also cannot be separated. And third thing, reflecting medium and original also cannot be separated. Why? Because original means this Brahman. Okay? Brahman. And Brahman is all pervading. And all pervading means all pervading. All pervading means there is nothing other than that. That is called all pervading. Yeah. If there is nothing other than that, then what you say as a reflecting medium must be non-separate from this. Right? It is non-separate. It is in fact it's just an appearance. It is just an appearance. And therefore, basically, reflecting medium and this original also cannot be separated. And therefore, even though we say these three components are there, but all the three are all the time put together because no one is separate from each other. And in that case, one Acharya looks from one angle, other Acharya looks from another angle. When Sureshwaracharya ji says that Brahman is a cause, it automatically implies Maya, of course. It automatically implies Chidabhasa also because cannot be separated. And Vidyaranya says Chidabhasa is a cause of the entire world. Definitely it implies the original. It also implies a reflecting medium. And therefore, where is the problem? Where is the problem? You are trying to find a problem between that Brahman is a cause and then Ishvara is not a cause, etc. But these three things together in a Vyavaharik, the realm of reality, definitely, all these three are always put together and they work as a one unit. And one cannot be separate from the other. And therefore, definitely, Acharya loosely can take one aspect, but the other two are already implied. And therefore, when he says Brahman is a cause, well, definitely you should consider Ishvara as a cause. Chidabhasa must be involved, and therefore, well, there is no serious issue. So, in appropriate context, of course, we have to understand appropriately. Like, Jiva travels after, after this death, right? Then definitely there Chidabhasa is mentioned. But Jivo Brahmaiva na aparaha. Again, Jiva word is used. Jivaha Brahma eva na aparaha. Jiva is none other than Brahman. Now, I can't take Jiva here as a Chidabhasa. When Jiva and Brahman are equated, definitely what I have to take? Chaitanya. Right? Jivo Brahma eva. I cannot say Chidabhasa is Chit. Means, in terms of, because Chidabhasa is a local entity. And in fact, it is not just, it is avidya chit granthi actually. Chidabhasa is not a pure consciousness. And therefore, definitely when it says Jiva is Brahman, then I have to take a lakshartha, means I have to drop Chidabhasa. Definitely. So, word Jiva is used, but then we have to take accordingly, as per the context we have to take. So when says Jiva goes after the death, Jiva travels through other world, etc., then we have to take Chidabhasa. When says Jiva is Brahman, there where you have to take Jiva as a consciousness. So at one place we have taken Chidabhasa, depending upon the context. At other place we have taken consciousness. By word, same word, Jiva. And therefore, definitely, whether Ishvara word Chidabhasa is used or Brahman is used, shown as a cause, this is not a big issue, it's not a serious issue. Actually, all the three are together, and therefore, well, there is no contradiction as such here. And we'll see the answer in detail in next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.